presenting on The Daughter of Greystoke. So this is Chuck's extension, building on Philip Jose Farmer's theories. And remember, as you're listening to the presentations that we give today, it's all real, it all really happened.
As Lynn said, my contribution to Myths of the Modern Age was The Daughters of Greystoke. The original title of it, when I wrote it, was The Daughters of Tarzan. I wrote it about 1998. It wasn't until I found Lynn's website that I had a video for it. It was written around 1998, but I've never, until this point, been able to reveal the dark, secret truth about how I know this information. Let's go back to around 1993, during the Gulf War. I had a friend named Michael Stone who was in the National Guard of Louisiana. That's where I'm from, Louisiana. And they got more people from the National Guard to serve Saudi Arabia from Louisiana than any other state in the United States. So anyway, he started sending me letters from Saudi Arabia. And he was basically there as an engineer. They did a lot of building of roads and so forth. Didn't see a lot of combat. I saw a couple of people running over the horizon surrendering. But Michael started sending me letters. And this is, by the way, the handsome long-haired chap right there is me. And that's Mike right before he went overseas. So this letter he got me, which you see down at the bottom, he knew that I was an artist and I was interested in art. So as this excerpt shows, one is a set of amazing drawings enclosed with this letter. I found them in an open-air market in this town called Sakaka, an oasis town. They were sold to me by a woman who seemed really anxious for some money. I asked whether she drew them, and she told that they were her great aunt. They were drawn by her great aunt, who at times withdrew into a melancholy mood and stare out her window, drawing from memories of when she was young. And personal art that somebody didn't mean to be on display, some of the best art you'll ever find. Somebody's personal poetry, something somebody did for their personal use, to just get it out of themselves is some of the best stuff. He knew I would like these. So I enclosed in the package were these 3 illustrations. And really quite beautiful. I can tell it was done by a female artist because there are certain things you can tell. So the first one, he goes on about the art. The only thing I can find out about the artist is that she was from the town of Malarak in the harem of someone called Abu Tahir, Sheikh Abu Tahir. When I asked her more about the artist's background, all that she would say is it was not her story to tell. So the first thing I started noticing in this artwork is I was already a fan of Lord Greystoke, Tarzan of the Apes. And I started seeing that. I think Mike sent me this because he knew I was a Tarzan fan. And, you know, just because somebody has a loincloth doesn't mean it's Tarzan, but there were some interesting things about it. You see in the background, in the far back, it looks like the ruins of a temple. It's like, it really immediately made me think of the lost city of Opar. You know, how many people in here have read the biographies of Tarzan by Edgar Rice Burroughs, but that was a lost city that Tarzan would visit from time to time. And a lot of times when he would go there, he would conveniently lose his memory. Law was the Veronica to James Betty. And Burroughs never came right out and said that they knew each other biblically, but you always kind of wondered, you know, if he was going to do it with somebody else, it would be La. So I started looking at this, and there's a white man in a loincloth and chains, and there's a woman who could very well be Law sitting there with child, and there's other symbology in here. Tarzan holding the apple, which you know what that implies. Original sin. So this was very fascinating. I didn't know. I thought, well, had she read some of these books? then I got to the second picture, and it shows a woman obviously sending an infant away. And you see down at the bottom, a woman being carried away by swarthy Arab types. And you can also see things in the background like beastmen. And, you know, of Opar, you had the beastmen of Opar. Things started to come together. Years later, when I actually was able to read some of the biographies of Modesty Blaze by Peter O'Donnell, I noticed the name, one of the characters in there was Sheikh Abu Tahir. It's like, where have I heard that from? And I went and found my friend's letter, and there it was. So apparently he was a real person, which all goes back to Farmer, that a lot of times these were actual events. We were led to believe they were fictional, but no, these things actually happened. So I'm looking at law. There's a connection between Tarzan and Law, Modesty Blaze. And I started, I found a book. Let me get to the next drawing here. And there, sure enough, that looks like Modesty Blaze. There's her with a gun, and in the background looks like Willie Garvin. And I started doing research, trying to find out see if I could find anything on Sheikh Abu Tahir. And from the book, Great Sheiks I Have Known, written by Dudley Grouse Manlow, I found this entry. And I spent the evening having cocktails with my friend Sheikh Abu Tahir, the leader of Malarak, who sold the oil concession for his country to England for, not good with numbers, it's a lot of money, paid in diamonds. So this is fascinating. So there really was a Sheikh Abu Tahir. And that was a character, pretty much they described it the same way in the Modesty Blaze files. And I started looking at the curl on the infant here. So what it turns out, after doing a little bit more research, was that this woman who drew these pictures was originally the handmaid of Law of Opar. If any of you get a chance to read our book, that explains the exodus from Opar of Modesty Blaze. She is the daughter of Tarzan and Law. And Tarzan himself probably never knew this fact. But it was making this connection. This is how I found out this secret truth that Tarzan and Law were the parents of Modesty Blaze. Little symbology in the drawings, like the curl showing on the infant girl and on the grown woman. Sheikh Abu Tahir had taken this woman from Opar into his harem, and she saw Modesty Blaze as an adult. And it all started coming together, and I wasn't able to reveal this until recently, because as Wynn pointed out, sometimes things start happening when you start revealing the truth about stuff you're not supposed to reveal the truth about. Interestingly enough, so this is the secret genesis of how I found out this truth. It was through these old illustrations. I don't know if this old woman is still alive who drew these pictures, but this is where the truth came from. If you get a chance to read our book, Myths of the Modern Age, the original article is there. But this is how I found out, through literary and actual archaeology, just looking for clues. A lot of times it's going to be names that suggest another name, but it's just got to do a lot of research. Sometimes it's not going to be there right in front of you, but it's there. And let's see. In conclusion, yeah, I think that's it. I think, yeah. So.